Hey team, welcome back to the channel. 2020 has been a challenging year for everyone, but now as we get to the end and there's some light at the end of the tunnel, let's take a look at what we can do next year to make it our best financial year ever. I've got 7 things I want to share with you about what we can do to make next year great. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and give me a thumbs up if this is helpful information for you. That being said, let's hop right into it. Step 1 to make this the best year ever for you financially is to stop getting into debt. So the way I like to think about it is you can't get yourself out of a hole if you won't put down the shovel and stop digging. For this year, what we need to really focus on is no longer accumulating debt so that we can start at a zero. So no new accumulation of debt, and then we can start working towards eliminating what we already have. What this means, put away the credit cards, stop borrowing money to be able to pay for the bills that you have. You've got to be organized to be able to stay on top of things as they come. So as a great foundation for the year, that's where we should start. Step 2 works in conjunction with this, and that's really setting up an intentional spending plan, or the 4-letter word of finance, the budget. Make sure that you understand where your money comes in and where it goes out. And then this will help enable you to be ready to take on the next steps. So really understand this, and there's a lot of tools out there available. Let me show you one that I really like. I love using Personal Capital because it integrates a lot of different powerful financial tools into one place. So let me show it to you in a quick overview video so you understand what it can do for you. So it really does bring together your whole financial life in one. It's got a really neat dashboard where it puts everything together with some nice charts for you to follow. It helps you track your net worth. It'll take all your assets and liabilities from all the accounts you link, and then it will give you your net worth up at the top. It helps you budget, which is really what's useful here for our discussion today to be able to get ready for next year. It shows you your cash flow based on the actual ins and outs from your accounts directly. It lets you plan for your retirement and really get a great picture visually of what that should look like for you. It'll analyze fees for your different investment accounts, and it gives you some tools to be able to plan for education for your kids, for example. So it's a really powerful program that I really like, and it does truly bring everything all together at once. So what I would recommend is sign up, link your accounts, and see if this is something that's useful for you. If you'd like, I can do a tutorial on how to use Personal Capital. If that would be useful for you, leave me a comment down below. But there's a link in the description for you to sign up and get a free $20 Amazon gift card once you link your accounts. So really a cool platform, and it will help you to be able to budget easier, and it's totally free to use, which is one of the biggest benefits. So check it out and let me know what you think. Step 3, going back to your budget, create a plan to get your debt paid off and start working on it now. You've got 12 months in the year, so take a look and break it out one piece at a time. If you've got $5,000 in debt that you want to pay off, divide it by 12, and that's what you need each month to be able to pay this debt down. So a little bit over $400. That's a lot. If it's more than you can do in 1 year, that's okay, but create the plan and begin to follow it and include it in your budget. Put a line item in that says debt repayment or debt principal and start paying it down. So create that action plan, take the steps necessary to put it into place, and then follow through and hold yourself accountable throughout the year. Step 4, create an emergency fund if you don't already have one. Now, a lot of people say, hey, $1,000 emergency fund is what you should have, or 3 to 6 months, or whatever. But for right now, for this 1 year, it's a great place to start with just 1 month. So 1 month for you is probably going to be more than $1,000, which is why I think it's a good place to start. $1,000 is fantastic, but it's not going to be enough. What would it take for you to survive for one whole month? So look at, like we talked about in the previous video about survival, right? What are those top tier 1 things that you need to be able to get by? So food, shelter, clothing, right? Food, your rent, your other expenses to keep that living going. So whether that's utilities or your phone, those things that will help you to survive and to get to that next step to thrive. So you probably need a phone to be able to have interviews for jobs. So I think that's probably an important thing. You'll need the internet to fill out applications or to be able to print things out to save your resume. So make sure you align what you think is the most important and include that in your number. Once you do that, then you can create that target for yourself for that 1 month of emergency fund. And as you get further along, if you can make it 2, 3, 6 months, that's great. But let's get started and create the plan for this year to, at a minimum, have that 1 month emergency fund. Number 5, save for retirement. If you haven't started already, it's not too late. The best time to save for retirement was yesterday, but the second best time is today. So get started. Find the right vehicle for you to save for your retirement, whether that's your company's 401k or an IRA, an individual retirement account that you set up separately, whether you want to save for retirement in a health savings account, because that is one of your biggest expenses in retirement, your health care. So look at what vehicle is going to be available to you and is going to be the most beneficial for you. I would recommend, if your company has a 401k plan available, at a minimum, contribute what you need to maximize the company's match. If you have an employer that offers a match, you're leaving money on the table if you don't, at a minimum, take advantage of that. So do that. Even just $100 a month over the course of 20, 30, 40 years adds up to a lot. You want to be able to work your way up to where you can maximize this so that you have those funds available for your retirement. Social Security is one of those things that, is continually up for debate. Is it going to have enough funding to survive? Will it be able to provide 100% of the benefits for everybody? We don't know. You don't want to be in a position where you have to rely on that as your single source of income in your retirement. So set a goal and then follow through for the year. And this should be part of that budget that you've already created. This shouldn't have to be an extra action item. But the important thing is that you get started and that you hold yourself responsible and accountable, because ultimately this is for you. It's not for anybody else. It's going to help you to be able to live a richer and more fulfilled life, especially in those years when you're past your prime working age. And you want to be able to take a step back, enjoy the grandkids, go places, do things, relax, enjoy those golden years. So make sure that you envision what that's going to be for yourself, what you want to accomplish in that time of your life, and then now lay the groundwork and follow through so that you can make that a reality. Step 6, save for a major purchase. So throughout the year, things come up that we really want or need to buy. Those big ticket items, whether it's a refrigerator, washer dryer, even a car. But so often we're tempted to go out and just borrow the money. But what we can do is identify now, before the year even starts, what are those things that we're going to need, and start saving now. So if you know that you're going to need a refrigerator in the next year or so, how much do you need to save to pay for that? Are you going to buy a $1,000 refrigerator, or are you going to buy a $1,500 refrigerator? What's the cost that you need to have saved aside, and what time frame? So if I want to buy a $1,600 refrigerator 8 months from now, I have to save $200 a month if I want to be able to pay for that without having to borrow for it. So again, remember, we're starting off step 1. We're not going to get into more debt. So when we know we have a major purchase, begin setting that money aside in advance so that when the time comes that you need that item, then you can go ahead and go purchase it. Remember, this is separate from your emergency fund. The emergency fund is there for break the glass in case of emergency. Otherwise, it's just going to sit there. It's not for investing. It's not for playing around with. It's there to be in a place where you can access it, probably just a high yield savings account, and to be left alone. This money for the major purchase, you want to save either in a separate account if you have one, or segregate it so that you know that it's for another purpose. Don't let there be any overlap though and spend out of your emergency fund for something like this. Save aside for it. And finally, number 7, invest. So when I say invest, I'm talking about outside of your retirement funds. This is money that you want to see grow over time. These investments will be key for you when you want to make large purchases in the future, also to fund your retirement. But the reason why you invest separate from your retirement vehicles is you want funds where you're not going to be penalized if you ever have to use them. You want to take excess money that you have that doesn't have another purpose and invest it because it has the opportunity to grow. But that being said, you want it to have a longer term perspective because these investments are for the future with a long-term view. Anything shorter than a year, you don't want to really play around with and invest in the stock market because of the uncertainty. If it's something you need in the near term, just put it in a high-yield savings account. But if it's a long-term play and you really want these funds for the future, go ahead, invest in the stock market. But make sure you do your homework, do your research. Don't play around with individual stocks. The safest, smartest way is to invest in index funds. But do your own research. And if you need the help, contact an advisor. I want 2021 to be a highly successful year for all of us. So it really starts with following these simple steps. Investing the time now while we still have time in 2020 so that we can close out this year strong and start next year off on the right foot. If this kind of content's helpful for you, make sure to like the video and leave me a comment down below. What is your financial goal for 2021 and how can I help you? If there's something that you would like me to talk about in a future video, leave me a note down below and I'll be happy to talk about it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.